Jeremy Oliver here for Oliver's Wines down on the Mornington Peninsula. I'm standing here with Paul Scorpo, who set up his wine business down here back in 1997. And just Paul, what on earth made you take a huge risk and leap of faith and plant a not insignificant vineyard down here in the peninsula?
Well, it was, I suppose, I got involved in winemaking very early in the piece. I did my first vintage in '72 in the Barossa Valley for working for Penfolds as a cellar hand. From there, it was a decision as to whether I sort of go full time in wine or not, and decided not to, and pursued other things. And in the late '70s, I was teaching at Footscray Institute, and we started running the first making wine for home consumption classes with Higginbotham.
Oh, Ian Higginbotham?
No.
Stephen?
Stephen Higginbotham.
Yeah, the genius.
Yes, he was like the gun of the time.
Wasn't he just?
And so we ran classes at Footscray Institute for a number of years until unfortunately he passed away.
Yeah.
We'd been making wine at home with my father from when he arrived in '57 until he passed away 20 years ago. So there was always an inkling.
It was in the blood.
Yes.
And,
my grandfather had vineyards in Sicily as well, so there's a tradition of it.
Yeah.
And in 1993, I did a 1-year part-time course at one of the TAFE colleges under a lovely lady called Denise Miller.
Yep.
Who, with her husband, was one of the first planters of vines in the Yarra Valley resurgement of vines.
Yeah.
So I did a year's course in making wine for home consumption, making wine, basic winemaking, and also setting up vineyards in cool climate areas.
Right.
And then from there, she helped me sort of look for vineyards. And in 1996, we found this old cherry orchard.
Yeah.
And bought it.
And since then you've successively planted, exactly the right varieties down here: Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinot Gris.
Yeah, they were this. We were supposed to plant Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris, but my wife loves Chardonnay, so there's Pinot Gris.
Well,
involved.
you'd be happy now that you did.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Pinot Gris, especially the Ocene Pinot Gris, now sort of we get great support. With the Pinot Gris, with the Chardonnay.
Yeah, and we're standing amongst the Chardonnay now. So this is when was this vineyard?
This was planted in 2008. So this was planted in 2000.
These are huge for that age down here. They're obviously enjoying it.
Oh look, these soils. I mean, they were seen as Class 1 horticultural soils. So as I said, this is an old.
That's almost too good.
Almost too good.
Yeah.
The thing about this is that there's slope, and in there being slope, there's still tons of mineral essence in the soils, but they're not rich. Like we only, this is the first trimming that they've had this year, and we've had so much rain.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to trim twice, but mostly we just trim once before we put the nets on.
Okay.
The vines are very balanced, I think. These older volcanic soils, if they're at field capacity at bud burst, you don't have to water them
for the rest of that season.
There's like this. There was a small apple orchard left, but they never used to put irrigation system in these orchards when they planted them. The cherry orchard that was planted here was planted in the 50s. So the 1950s.
Yeah.
So there's a real history of horticulture on the site before me as well.
And you've got a close planted Pinot vineyard, the cherry orchard.
Yeah, well,
just up this way.
Yeah, that's next door basically.
Yeah.
So we can have a look at that later.
Okay, just so where Scorpo then is now, you're producing roughly, you were saying earlier, about 6,000 cases a year.
Yeah, we've got 2 vineyards. So this is a family vineyard. There's 7.5 acres here. And just on the next ridge, as you can see from here, you can actually...
Yeah, I just see it poking through the vines.
That's right.
That's you.
So on the next, there's 24.5 acres there as well.
So these
And that's
varieties.
all. That's all. There's 19 acres of Pinot over there, and 5.5 acres of Chardonnay, and this is mostly Pinot and Chardonnay with a little with Pinot Gris and. Well, there was Shiraz, but I took it out this year.
All of it?
All of it.
Oh no! You sod.
I did, yeah.
No. No. It's
So yeah, it was a really nice Chardonnay, but
Oh, Shiraz.
a Shiraz, but there's another clone of Pinot that I want to desperately
No,
claim.
I love that Shiraz.
Everybody loves it.
So in other words, what Paul is just sort of fessing up to do, having butchered his Shiraz vineyard and replaced it with Pinot Noir. Now, we have some of your Shiraz on the platform.
Oh, we've still got 2021 to sell.
You've got a couple of vineyards, so I've got a couple of years of happiness left because, dear, we've got to take you to church and sort you out on that.
You'll have to cut all this out.
But, no, we won't. But, so in other words then, you're specialising at the top of your pyramid. You've got your Eocene wines, so some close planted Pinot Noir, and your top level Chardonnay.
Yeah, the brand works. It's 3 tiered. So basically, the estate wines are the focus of the brand, and nothing's compromised.
And they're in the middle.
And that's in the middle.
Cool.
When we can, we make single vineyard wines, and then that's our Eocene and Old Cherry Orchard range. And then we've got the varietals, which are, Patrick Walsh asked me many years ago, 2006, to make good wines that were young and vibrant and good for the,
like the
for the
Urbane
market.
and the
Urbane
Noirian,
and the
yeah.
Noirian. So they're the varietals.
And
So-
these are also outstanding young wines, and for that 2 to 5+ year sort of cellaring life, I think they're amazing. I think they're a little bit better than your original brief.
We had a bottle of, because I've moved all my museum stock down onto the Peninsula, and we had a bottle of the 2006 Noirian, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised. You
So
do over-deliver with them.
That's they've got to be really full of flavour, those wines, because they're by the glass, and you've got to really capture the people's imagination and palates as they taste them. But all the wines we try and we've got to be really full of flavour and balanced and layered, so that during the course of a meal you'll see all sorts of things coming through.
So you've you've been here since 1996. You planted 97. You've built a 3-tiered system that works perfectly. It means you've got the ability to move up and down with the seasons, and in the lesser seasons release less of the really elite wines and focus more on your estate range, which is it's the French model, it's the Burgundian model, and it makes so much sense for you to do. But just finally, you were talking a minute ago about what you're seeking in your wines, this layered quality you were saying, and that core of fruit and the ability to be enjoyed and changing constantly and evolving through a meal. Is there anything else that you would add that you're seeking in your wine?
Like my grandfather and my uncles, and it was all about all those things, plus they had to age beautifully. Because they were obsessed by old wines.
And
we're not so much these days, but they were.
But when you make wine that is really well balanced, that is harmonious in its youth, and it has a length of fruit, that tends to follow naturally. But when you don't need to, as a winemaker, I think, to think, I have to think of the longevity of the future. If you get it all right, so you've produced a delicious young wine, provided it's of varieties that actually will sell, that's going to happen as a matter of course. You prove that. You're just saying you were drinking an 06 Noirian, was it, or Urbane?
A Noirian.
Yeah.
06 Noirian.
Wow.
The first year we made it.
Wow.
But look, it's not rocket science. We're trying to make a good drink, and one of the most important things is not to overcrop it. If you don't overcrop, and the natural acid is there, that will give you your longevity, that balance in the grapes when you pick them, and try not to and minimal. People, we put a lot of work into the vineyards. You can see here, we We're still using a little bit of herbicide, but we cultivate under vine now to stop the use of herbicides. But you know, the vines are balanced, and if the vines are balanced, the fruit will be as well.
Totally agree.
But you know, so the vineyard's important, and then in the winery where we try and it's minimal intervention, but it's most important intervention, because most of the wines, it's that fermentation process that gives you the character and the structure of the wine on top of the terroir. So it's a combination of the two that enable us to make
judicious use of intelligent effort rather than complete hands off or complete hands on, isn't it? That's
yes.
I think that's the answer. So look, Paul, thank you very, very much.
Pleasure.
So Jeremy Oliver signing off here at Scorpo on the Mornington Peninsula.